So I've just been going back to the basics and remembering what he has said on his YouTube pages and on his Twitter. That you don't just go and do everything so fast. You don't run a marathon in a minute. Um, you just got to take it slow and easy. Even though I can't walk or put any pressure on my legs right now, I can't put any pressure on my other leg because they put an IV directly in my leg near the bone. So it's rendered both of my legs dead. Awesome. Um, but so I've been doing the breathing. So even though I'm down, I'm not giving up. I might be stuck in this stupid bed, but I'm still keeping up with my program. Um, I do a little bit of the breathing. Um, I've been with the machine working on a couple moves of the bending. Um, that was during red hot core, like grabbing your toe. Um, I was able to actually sit up today in a chair, which that's way better because I wasn't even able to bend at all. Um, so I've been improving. I've been really excited. So I'm hoping to get out of here soon and get back to doing a little bit more. Um, though I will. Oh, I'll tell you the story really quick of why I only am doing DDP yoga and not listening to these stupid PT people because at least DDP and Jake and them, when you exercise with them, they don't lie to you. Okay? And this is why my anger is so intense and why I have no trust for people. Um, when I started doing the workout, DDP even said on the DVDs, he's like, take it at your pace. It's okay if you are in too much pain and you gotta go slower. It's not a big deal. This stupid PT person comes in here with the machine and I'm like, I'm not ready yet to do it. My pain is too intense. We haven't found that good mix yet to take the edge off for me to do that. And he's fighting and yelling at me, and he goes, okay, well, let's just do this. Let's fit it to your leg, and then you can have it later. I was like, all right, just fitting it to my leg. It'll hurt for a little while because I got to move my leg up and everything. And he flattened me out, which really hurt. Um, but it's just a fit, and then I'll get it off and we'll try it again later. So he fits it to my leg and then he straps my leg in and turns the machine on and bends my hip 30 degrees. And I was like, you said you were just fitting it. You never said that you were going to turn the machine on and start working with it. That is a lie. And oh my God, so mad at him because I'm 18, I'm an adult. If I tell him I can't do this, he should not force me to do this. Even my mom was like, are you an idiot? Then we have another PT lady comes in today and she's like, you need to stand up and get out of your bed right now. And I'm like, excuse me? What do you mean? She's like, you need to stand up out of your bed. I'm like, I just had major hip surgery. I've been in extreme pain for 5 days with no sleep, and I have an IV in my only good leg that's at the bone where I can't put pressure on that foot either. How am I supposed to get out of bed? She's like, oh no, you can put pressure on that IV. I'm like, lady, I can't. My body is different. Even my mom's like, who's telling you this, that she has to do this? And she's like, oh, it was written down as an order. And we were like, well, you go back to your little order and say we refuse. They just force you to do stuff when you're not ready and you're not listening to them. When I am ready to do something, I will go do it. But I don't do it at their pace. I do it at my pace. When they're going to take the IV out tomorrow of my leg, and then I'll be able to stand. But forcing people to come in and saying move, and then I talked to my doctor who wrote the order. He never said to do that. She was just making excuses to get me to move and do all that stuff because she's like, well, you're going to get a blood clot and you're going to get in so much trouble and you're going to die. I'm like, lady, I have low blood platelets. My hip has been bleeding out. I can't clot. Why would I stand? Explain that. So they finally, I think, put the sign back on the door, which they forgot to do, which I have it for every one of my surgeries. PT people, stay out of my room. If you don't, I will kill you. Well, not in those exact words, just as PT don't enter. But I hate them. That's why you can't even trust people in the hospital. There's been people stealing here. Um, they lie to you and put you in extreme pain. Like, you explain to them that we're working on getting me settled to be able to do this, but I'm not settled yet. So why would I go and do it when it would cause me more pain and with my bleeding condition, make my leg bleed out again? Very pissed at that guy and very angry at that woman as well. No more PT people will be coming in here, and I'm just sticking straightly with DDP Yoga because I know if I don't do a whole session or I only do a few minutes, that's still good, and he still encourages you that that's totally fine. Um, so I've been working on the breathing, and I've been working on some arm exercises, but right, I was just like, oh, it was mind blowing. It's like, how arrogant can you be when you see I have major physical problems? Um, and we had a crash team people in here days ago because a little bit of pressure, just a little bit of pressure of me leaning on my side made my whole leg bust out and bleed. And you want me to stand? I don't think so, chick. Um, sorry, okay, to get that out. Okay, I feel better now. But yeah, that's why I don't have trust issues. Like, I have trust issues for people. Is I've been really pushed a lot during this surgery. Usually they just let me rest and let me recuperate on my own. But everyone's pushing me to do. But I'm not ready. And as they're pushing me to do this, instead of me getting better, I am falling apart. So I think finally they're starting to see today, just let me heal the way I heal. I felt better today and I felt like, yeah, I could get in the chair, and I did, and I was right. There was no problems. But them pushing me to do a bunch of other stuff came up with complications. It's because I told them I'm not ready. Um, so yeah, so I'm excited to hopefully go home soon. Um, ho- uh, Hopefully we'll find a really good medication to take the edge off. I don't need anything so strong because I know how pills can get you addicted to them. I've seen people in my family get addicted, um, and I don't want to be like that. But they said that because I have that will, I won't get addicted. I've actually have and I have ended up in the ER before because I refused to take my heart medicine because I was afraid I was going to get addicted. And I've also ended up in the hospital for 2 weeks because I didn't take any pain medicine and my body just collapsed and they it was broken, they were bleeding. Um, my body just couldn't do it. It couldn't go through that suffering anymore. So as much as I hate them, if I want to go home, I want to see my dogs, and I want to get a visit from my buddy again, that I just have to swallow my pride and take these medicines. But this thing, it don't work for crap. I just hit it to hear the beep noise. It's like music. They're like, oh, it's delivering, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't work. Um, yeah, so about that, yeah, so that's part of my trust issues and my anger issues. The main one that really started it was I was playing on a playground during field day at our school, and nobody was including me, so my teacher let me go hang on the playground. And there was a boy there who didn't believe my arms were short. And I was like, no, they're really like that. I was just born this way. And he stuck his arm and hands up my shirt and tried to pull my arm out of my shirt and tried to rip off the top of my collar and shirt to pull out the rest of my arm that I was just hiding. Um, and he bent my hand, and he was just really bad. And I felt, I felt scared. Like, I felt violated. Like, seriously, how he was reaching all the way up my shirt to my shoulder and my chest and pulling at my arm. Um, and then I went to his mom on the swing set, and because I shoved him, um, and she's like, what happened? He goes, well, she shoved me. And I was like, well, your son stuck his hand up my shirt, tried to rip off my shirt and pull out my arm because he didn't believe my arm was short after I explained to him, though, what was wrong. and she just gave me a snarly comment like, well, you didn't have to shove him. He's fine. And I'm like, I'm not gonna get a sorry or anything? And she's like, no, why would I do that? And then she walked away. That was the day that my anger went from a little bit to heavy hell. My friends actually say I have perfected my death stare that will burn you to the soul. That I give people that when they stare at me, I give them and they freak out and they're like, "Oh my god!" Um, but I do know age limits. There's some ages that they don't understand. I get that, but I mean, when you're like 9, 10, you should understand by now. You shouldn't be acting like that. And I've even had cousins who went to New Year's Eve party and people, I guess, were laughing at her, and I was trying to cheer her up, and she said it's all my fault. I'm disabled, and they found out we were cousins, and now they're making fun of me because of your arms. Um, and she had said the same thing when we did a baseball game. She's like, "You can't throw because you have small arms," even though I was taught how to throw a knuckleball by Tim Wakefield. Um, yeah, and I can throw damn fast and damn good. But so that's my problem is it's not only just the public that people give me crap about my disability, it's my family members too. It's like you're the only one with a disability in your family and it's like it sucks. You have nowhere to go. People make fun of you on the outside and people make fun of you on the inside. So you just kind of get recluse and you get so tied up in your little bubble that you just want to keep your little bubble and you want to keep everybody else out. Um, I am chipper and I am happy, but there is times that it's just an act and it's a fake because I just get so mad and I can't stand being out with these people. Um, and after that incident with the person trying to rip off my shirt and pull out my arm, that's when I started getting into knives. And I have a huge fetish for knives. I love knives. But I always keep a legal defense knife on my hip um, because am afraid that I'm going to get um, violated like that again. I had a girl too. I was looking at a knife. She was following me around the store. Then I stopped and I was looking at this knife, and she got closer and closer until she was like right here, and started poking at my hands. My uncle came up and was like, "Excuse me," um, and she just kind of looked at him and then looked back at me. But I like this mom. This mom was like, "Get over here," and she like slapped her on the back of the head and was like, "You don't do that," and everything. But it's just like I can never go anywhere and just be me. That's really all I want is I just want people to see me as me and not the girl who walks funny or has the short arms. Because it makes my life really hard. I've never really got to experience a lot of stuff that normal teens and stuff would. Because my summers I spend in here. I mean, they're nice enough to schedule my surgeries after my horse camp because they know how much I love my horses. Um, but I've never been to a dance. Um, never, I've never done a lot of stuff. Going into my senior year, and I doubt I'm even gonna go to prom or homecoming. Never been to either one of those. But it sucks a lot. Um, but with this DDP yoga, it's definitely helped me with my breathing, not only healing here, but healing emotionally. When uh, Jake was down here, we went to pick up some feed for my horses, and there was 3 kids in there staring at me. I started getting really angry and clenching my fist, but then I just remembered breathe, breathe, and I started calming down, and then I was good, and they left, and I was fine. Um, so the breathing is the main exercise that I really like a lot because it's definitely helped me not to get my over anger. Because then when I get over anger, everything pisses me off. Um, Even if it's people who aren't doing anything, they'll just piss me off. Um, yeah, so Trying to think of, so that's some of my background. Um, oh, in the school that I went to at the private school, I was the only person with a disability there for 8 years, and still to this day, they've never had a person with a disability. My high school has people with disabilities, but they're all in the special ed class groups, and I'm not. I'm actually the first person with a disability who's not in that, and I'm actually in the High Engineering Academy. It's called Beta. It's Bayside's Engineering and Technology Academy, which when I graduate this year, I have a job. I can get a job at Harris. I can get a job at NASA, um, and they're guaranteed the day I graduate. Um, and I build robots for robotics teams for First and Vex. I do both. I do computer programming, and this coming year, I'll be the first person with a disability to graduate from that academy. But that's what makes it hard is when I do get sick, the teachers and everybody kind of gets mad that when I'm relearning it or catching up, they're like, "Come on, Naomi, this is so easy." I'm like, "Yeah, well, you were here to learn it. I have to teach myself how to do this stuff. Uh, you're expecting me to do that like in 2 minutes? No." So I get a lot of that and that's when I just kind of BS my papers and just turned it in because we'll be taking a test. I'll be the last one, and everyone just like attacks me. So I just BS it and turn it in. Um, but I do work really hard. I'm going to go to FIT uh, after I graduate, which is uh, the best engineering institution in the country. I'm going to do forensic science and computer programming. But what I also want to do is I'm going to get a minor in working with horses. I do want to keep my horse love up because they are my stress relief. They are my best friends. When nobody was there for me when I was younger and got made fun of 24/7, my horses were there. Um, Especially my first horse I ever got, his name was Tigger. He was a small pony. He was half Shetland, half Arabian. My mom's friend actually got him for her daughter, and he wasn't trained to be ridden. So they didn't really use him much, and the daughter didn't really like him, and he ended up bonding to me. He'd do anything I asked. He knew my arms were a little bit smaller, so he'd put his head down so I could work with him. Um, if I walked slow, he would stop. If I fell, he would sit next to me and just stand over me to make sure the other horses didn't run me down. There was one time that he got spooked, and I fell to the ground, and he looked at me, looked up, and jumped over me, which he doesn't know how to jump. He didn't even know how to buck, but he knew that I was going to get hurt if he just bolted. So he took all of his might and he cleared me completely, didn't touch me at all. And then after I stood up, he came back to me and was like, "You okay?" Um, he was definitely my therapy horse, where no matter what happened, I knew I had him where I could get through it. And there were some times that life really did get hard, which I started thinking about suicide. Um, but it would always make me stop because I was like, you know what, I can't do it because I can't leave him. He will have nobody if I don't be there for him. Um, but last year, um, my mom moved him to another friend's house to babysit a horse, which I said no, but nobody listens to me. This horse was really depressed. His friend she had to put the other horse down, so he wasn't walking. He was slowly dying. So since Tigger wasn't broke, because I promised him nobody would ride him, he would just be free to live his life the way he wanted and just be a free horse. And only he let me ride him once, but I still promised him nobody would ride him. So we moved him to be a buddy horse to help cheer this other horse up. 3 days later, I was laying in my bed. I couldn't sleep. Um, I was worried about something, but I wasn't sure. It got to about 1:30 in the morning, and I heard a truck engine start outside. I was like, "Is that my mom? No, there's no way she's up." And then it was turned on and it left. So I knew it wasn't my mom because my mom always lets her truck warm up. Um, but then about 30 minutes later, I got a call from my mom and said there was an accident. Uh, and I said, "With what? Are you okay?" And she said, "It's Tigger." Some kids thought it'd be funny to let the horses out and chase them down the road. And another kid who was texting and driving hit him with his pickup truck at 65 miles per hour. The first horse got all the impact and flipped over the truck and died within 5 minutes. My horse broke his leg in 3 places. Uh, and they had to come get me because I had to sign the consent form to put him down. The cops and everything were fine until they were like, "Well, we have to go get the owner so she can say goodbye and stuff and sign the papers." And when I came back, um, the cop, I guess, told my mom, he's like, "Why did you bring a disabled girl here?" And she said, "Well, that's her horse." And he's like, "This just got really sad." I had him 12 years. Um, he got me through everything where I thought I wouldn't make it, which this is why my surgeries are now really hard. Because I used to try to heal so fast so I could get back to him. Because he would get mad if I was gone too long and didn't see him. We had to wait a little while for the vet to come, and he died in my arms at 2 in the morning. And it's really screwed up my life. Because now when I go through those hard times, I don't have anything to help me get through it. Um, but I got a dog named Maximus who has helped me, and I know Tigger would want him to keep me happy. They met each other once before Tigger passed, and I Tigger's best friend Sonny, I took him on as mine, so I have a last living connection to him, which I knew he would want that, where Sonny would still live out his days with us. Um, but it really, really screwed up my life. Some kids, they just think it's so funny, it's an awesome prank, but they don't understand. Growing up, I could have died a lot from these surgeries. They thought I wouldn't make it, that I was gonna bleed to death, that I wasn't gonna make it. But I kept saying, I got it, I gotta get back to Tigger. And it's just now, I don't have that heart to fight. I still try to fight because I know I need Maximus. Um, and luckily for me, I have a lesson horse named Blondie who I've been riding for 9 years. Um, and my horse instructor is gonna let me lease her to be a part owner. Um, so Maximus and her are the reasons why I'm still fighting. If I didn't have them, I wouldn't have fight no more. wouldn't be able to take it. But after his death, um, it was hard because people don't understand. Like, they're just like, oh, it's just an animal. But they don't get that with having a disability, you have nobody to be your friend, to be your connection. He was my other half. He was my heart, my soul, my pride and joy. And one prank, and he was gone. And they don't understand how much you can really screw up a person. Because not only did it make me think more about just giving up and being done, um, it made my anger flare up where I wanted revenge. Uh, so I started getting into shooting and found out I have a really good shot. Then I started getting into hunting, um, which I do that with my uncle, and if it wasn't for my uncle, it would be really, really hard for me. Um, going shooting and going hunting is my relaxed time. It helps me to forget about what's going on, just be out in the woods, listen to the nature, um, and just relax and try to get that strength and that hope back. It just, it's been really hard, and the more I think about it, I think that's why these surgeries have been so hard. It's because I don't have him anymore, and he was my momentum to get out of the hospital, get better, go see him. But I can't do that now, because if I do that, I know I'll get to the barn and I'll do his whistle and he won't be there. So it's like, who cares?
It's impossible not to be overcome. Will you forgive me if I...
But I still have to fight for my dog Max and Blondie. I know they'd be really mad if I gave up. And for Jake, um, I know Jake's been having trouble with his alcoholism, and I've been having trouble with my anger and having some bad thoughts about giving up. Um, so we kind of help each other where um, I help him not to want to drink, um, to just put that out of his mind if he's think about me, think about something else. Um, and when I start getting the bad thoughts and stuff, I think about the times we had hanging out and how I was truly happy, and that if I just give up, then I won't have the happiness anymore. And I know then Jake would go downhill and Tigger would be disappointed in me. Um, it's just what I want people to really get out of this is not just how DDP helps work and helps heal and stuff, but I want you to see my transformation is yes, I am strong and I am hard-headed and stubborn, as Dylan knows. Um, but there is there's only a certain amount of times you can be strong. There are the days that you just are weak and you can't do it. But you gotta have just that little bit of momentum to keep you going strong. Um, Hanging out with Jake and Dylan and having them be true to their word, um, not lying when they say stuff or backing out of it or just being like, oh, can't do it. Um, they'll figure out another way to do what they said. helps me to know that I gotta keep the fight going and don't stop, don't give up. I am really strong. And I know people say I'm an inspiration, but I want them to see the other side too, that I'm not Miss Perfect, strong girl, all inspiration and that stuff. I do go through hard times. I do go through immense pain, and it's not easy. Um, so that's a little bit more of my background. If you want to have any questions or want to know anything, uh, post them down below in a reply, or comment them to me, or send them in a message. It doesn't matter, and I'll answer them either in a video blog or in a text blog, whichever one you prefer. Um, I'd really like for people to start doing that so I can enlighten you about my disability, what I have to go through. I am trying to inspire people like Dylan and Jake and DDP want me to do, but I'm new at this, so I'm not exactly sure what you guys need to hear to be inspired. Um, for me, slight little things, little gestures will turn my day upside down and just be so happy, even though it was completely crappy. Hey, that rhymed. Um, but so yeah, just post comments, reply any questions, any comments. I will soon, when I get home, post the first videos that I made when I was working with my uh, spotter Yasmina when we started doing the DDP workout, um, and post how we are doing with that. And then I'll keep you updated with these surgeries, or this surgery and how it's been coming. Um, yeah. So leave me a reply, give me a comment, give me a shout out. Um, Anything you need to hear, tell me, and I will help you to get through it. Because if it wasn't for my little group of happiness, which I have some people also in that group that I don't name out of respect from them, um, that I know when I'm sad, I think of the memories that we have, um, which there's three that are unnamed: Jake, Dylan, Maximus, and Blondie. That that is my little group that I know when I get bullied at school, when I get put down, when I get hurt, when I get in pain, I'll just randomly think of one of our good memories and I'll start laughing and smiling. And that's all I need to get through the day. And that's what I want you guys to start getting through and start doing. That do these workouts, get yourself healthy, get yourself where the breathing or a certain exercise just lifts your day up from crap. But also try to find um, a small happiness bubble, like a little ball that you know that when days gets rough or when they get hard, before you think about going to pick up a beer or cocaine or anything, you think of your little happy group. Think back of a stupid time, a happy time, any time, and I swear you will laugh, you will smile, and you won't want to drink, you won't want to do it because you know what? You were so happy when you were sober and clean with your happy group. That's why you have that memory. That you want more like that. And everybody in your happy group um, is there to support you and help you. Um, I'm working on so hard not crying right now because I'm getting flashbacks of that night with Tigger. Um, but that's when you start to think right now, think of a happy time and start laughing. But yeah, so this is a very long video log, but today is July 6th, 2013. I'm Naomi, and again, I really want to get some questions and comments so I can make these videos more interactive. So hit me up. Bye.